Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. I just got home from work not too long ago and ready for the weekend. It's a 3-day weekend, and we're excited about that. We're excited to have some rest and relaxation for the next 3 days. Well, we have our normal activities for the weekend, but it's always nice to have an extra day off. And hope everything's going well with you. This is In the Raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. We've been talking about the power of a changed life. This is the last episode of this, if you want to call it that, or episode for this, I should say. And we've been talking about God's mercy, how we can use God's mercy, how we can access God's mercy to have our lives changed. And we've been talking about different ways to do that. And the last one that I want to talk about today is this one: care. Oh no, that was the last week. Care for others for by showing mercy. Right? We talked about that. The last one is yearn for His mercy. You know, yearn is a kind of like a weird word, but I like it because it talks about daily dependence. You know, I like the idea of wanting something so bad that almost becomes something you have to have every day. Excuse me. And that's how God's mercy is. We need to yearn for it. You know, I think of the word of addiction, or the word addiction, and it's got a lot of negative connotations to it. But you just think about what God's mercy becomes when it becomes something you yearn for and you want it every day. You know, and that's how it should be. God's love, God's mercy is eternal, and you want to yearn for it. You want it every day for the rest of your life. You know, you want to search it out. You want to depend on it. You know, every single day. You know, and God's mercy will never end. The Bible says. You know, we're never going to find an end to God's mercy. You know, it's not like that last bowl of cereal. You know what I'm talking about? When you pour, you know, the last cereal left in the box and all you get is crumbs because the rest of the cereal is gone. Well, God's mercy is not like that. God's mercy is always there. It's always ready, right? It's always ready for us to experience. There's no end to it. And everyone makes, you know, we all make bad decisions. We all have made mistakes in our lives, you know, and we have consequences because of our decisions. And we need God's mercy in our lives. The Bible says this, I love this verse. It says, the unfailing love of the Lord never ends. By His mercies, we have been kept from complete destruction. Great is His faithfulness. His mercies began afresh every day. This is another great prayer that you can keep and say and repeat. If I could have one goal for my life, it would be to pray this every time I need to. Great is His faithfulness. His mercies begin fresh every day. His mercies are new and are different. And this is what we want to have every day. We want to, you know, seek Him every day, seek His mercies. And every day, you know, we make mistakes, and we are, because we are broken. And so we need to say, God, forgive me for this mistake. Forgive me for doing this. Forgive me for saying this. Forgive me for seeing this. Forgive me for hearing this. Forgive me for being part of this. Please, I need your mercy. And every day, as we live our lives, you know, there are going to be new mercies, the Bible says, because there's always something new that we experience, and that we, you know, there's new mistakes that we make. As long as we live on this earth, we're not going to be perfect. And there's always going to be things that we are doing. And the problem is, though, this is what I always say, the problem is when we do the same thing over and over and over again. You know, because It's one thing to make a mistake, make a bad decision, and it's another thing to keep doing the same mistake or the same decision all the time. We have to learn from them, and God helps us learn from them through His mercies. All right, well, I hope you have an amazing weekend, long weekend. Stay safe, enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon.